What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. We have a massive game tonight for Chelsea Football Club. We are facing Newcastle United in the Carabao Cup quarter-final. I've said it from the beginning. This is our Champions League. This is a must-win competition for Chelsea. It's all or nothing for me this season with this competition. It starts us off in a really, really great position under Pochettino in his first sort of 6 months in charge, if he can get silverware under his belt. There's a lot of questions about Poch. There's questions about what he's doing, whether or not his tactics have made any difference to Chelsea, and whether or not he's the right guy for the job. So going and winning silverware is huge. It guarantees us some sort of European football. Look, it's not the European football that we should be hoping for as Chelsea fans or as the football club, right? We need to aim higher. We've spent enough money. We should be aiming higher than what the Carabao could give us as guaranteed qualification. But right now, if we're being realistic, that is our level. And we need to go and win this. Newcastle have got a severely weakened squad for this evening, as do Chelsea. We've had so many injuries. It's the same old, same old. Every week this season, we've got a new player on the injury list. We've got Cucurella, one of the most improved players in a Chelsea shirt this season. He's out for months. Reece obviously out again. But bright shining light, hopefully this evening, we see Christopher Nkunku make his Chelsea debut in terms of competitive football. Obviously, we saw a little bit in pre-season. He looked good, but I got a lot of false hope from pre-season. Poch excited me in pre-season. A lot of players excited me in pre-season, and they just haven't been able to make the step up when it's got competitive. And we've needed those players, and we've had to rely on basically no one bar Cole Palmer pretty much to put in solid performances. So, and actually I'll shout out in recent weeks Benoit Badiashile as well. So, what can we expect from tonight's game? Well, it's going to be an end-to-end match because you never play against Newcastle United and have a game where one team is facing a low block. The way Newcastle play under Eddie Howe, it's been his trademark pretty much since the Bournemouth days. I can't comment on Burnley, but we know how Eddie Howe's team plays. They're exciting, they're full-on, they're non-stop, they're relentless. And that's what's winning them games at the moment and putting them in good positions in terms of moving up the table, qualifying for European competitions, and being in and around finals at the moment. Eddie Howe's doing a marvellous job, and we've seen that in recent fixtures against Newcastle United. So this is going to be a tough one. I do think Chelsea have a good chance tonight. I really do. I think if we can get things right, if we can sort of carry on the momentum that we got from the weekend, we've got a chance. Of course we have a chance. It's a cup game. And the one thing I say about Chelsea this season is in some of the bigger games that really mattered, and they're big 6 games, Pochettino's managed to get Chelsea to turn up. And he's sort of saying in the press conference, he's saying the right things now. I think he's serious. I think he knows for himself how important it is to go and win silverware. That's a must for me for Poch. If Pochettino can't win silverware with Chelsea, he's never going to win it in England. Because Chelsea are relentless winners of silverware. Poch is at the right place if he wants to do it. Because somewhere in the club, predominantly the fans now, that winning mentality is still there. The problem is that very limited in terms of players, in terms of winning mentality, very limited in terms of coaches, and very limited in terms of the board, because none of these people that actually have an effect on the games have got that winning mentality. And that's why I say it's probably just the fans left at Chelsea now that still have that mentality, because we haven't changed. Todd Boehly and Clear Lake Capital and Egg Barley have changed absolutely everything else. So I think we got a good chance. I think we have that fight there. We do. But Newcastle, look, they're out of Europe now. No, I actually think they're out. So they're going to really want this as well, because they're not doing as good in the league as they probably thought they were. But watch them push on now, definitely. When they get their injuries back, watch them push on. Joelinton's a big miss for them as well. So, look, what I want to see from Chelsea, I want to see us move the ball quicker. I know that's easy to say, but when we've been slow and pedestrian-like and a lot of our game is in front of the opposing team's defensive lines, we're just not effective. Second half at the weekend, we moved the ball quicker. Players were faster with their thoughts. And we started making things happen and we turned that game around. We have to go into this game and play that open game. We really do, because when it becomes that stalemate, attack versus defence, currently, this Chelsea team don't have the cutting edge to break that down. We need an open game to have a chance. We really do. And I think, actually, if you look at our playing staff, that's what we're best suited to. I don't look at our team and think we're this unbelievable possession-based team if I'm talking about the squad of players. We do try and do that under Poch. I don't think that's our strength, though. And when I was learning and doing my badges and stuff, people would always say, if you have a team, play to the strengths of what you've got, right? And I think at this moment in time, where we need to go and win stuff, play to our strengths, and slowly develop what Pochettino wants his team to look like. But right now, it's about getting results. So yeah, need to be moving the ball a lot quicker to start with. I don't want to see that isolated singular midfielder, because too many times at the weekend I saw midfielders hiding, shying away from the ball in the first half, and Caicedo was kind of just left there on his own. Every time he turned, the option was a distant pass, and that just isn't in his locker. I actually think he had a really good game over a 5-yard, 10-yard sort of passing area. I think he was really good. And that's where I think his sort of genius will shine, when he's allowed to play his natural game like that, but you need another player in there with him. But I also now am starting to think you don't need three. You don't need three there. Caicedo has to play. He's a defensive midfielder. He knows what his role looks like. But you need someone who he can give the ball to. He has to be the player that wins the ball back, then gives it to a creative player or a ball carrier, which I think Poch's idea is Conor Gallagher. I don't really think Conor was doing that last game. I don't think he had his best game. I think Conor's a great player to have around, and we'll get onto that in a second, because I want to touch on that just before we finish. But the midfield area is going to be key for today's battle, and obviously scoring goals, which we know about, and it's not even worth touching on that until we see what Nkunku can do and offer us. But moving back on to Conor Gallagher, should we sell? Should we not? It's a massive talking point at the moment. I just want to touch on it a little bit. I don't want to make a whole video because I actually have a funny feeling he'll probably stay. But this is what concerns me with Clear Lake Capital, is Conor Gallagher is everything you want coming from the academy, moulding into a Chelsea captain, a leader, someone who gives everything for the shirt, heart on his sleeve type of player. And Clear Lake Capital can't see that because their eyes have dollar signs rolling round because he's clear profit. I'm not saying that we can't do better than Conor Gallagher. And I don't think, realistically, if you look at Chelsea's best ever teams, Conor Gallagher would get in any of those teams. But right now, he's the sort of player that we need and want around the dressing room, someone that actually cares a little bit and gets other players motivated. I'll worry about Conor's discipline. I think when he's on a booking, he's pretty much useless because he can't play his natural game. And he needs to learn that. He needs to improve in that area. I think he shies away because he's scared about doing the wrong thing, because he's worried that his position isn't secure at the club, let alone the team, right? I think if he does something wrong, he's worried. But you can't have that. You have to be willing to take a risk. Cole Palmer doesn't stop showing for the ball, and then he knows he's good enough, and he backs himself to turn the game and change the game. And I think Conor has to do a little bit of that, and he has to do that better. But I don't want to see him sold. And I've said that multiple times. Conor Gallagher isn't worth the clear profit that we'll get from him. I think Broja might be, and there's a couple of other players that I think are worth selling. Conor Gallagher, for me, I don't want to see him go. Do I think he should be starting every game? No. Because I think Chelsea's level is actually better than Con. But if we've got a really big Champions League game, or you've got a massive game coming up, and you need to rotate the squad, he's the perfect player to be bringing in. If you need legs in a really big game because your squad's dead on its feet out there, he's a great player to be bringing on. Similar sort of mould to a Park Ji-sung at Manchester United. You know what you're getting. He's a water carrier. He does the dirty work. He does that horrible side of the game. And he does have a bit of ability. And he is improving. I don't think it's the right type of player that Chelsea should be selling. There are players at Chelsea, at Cobham, at Stamford Bridge, that I don't think should be near the squad at the moment. I think they're toxic and they're just not showing any level that Chelsea requires as a football club. Anyway, massive game against Newcastle United today. Let me know your thoughts below. If you're new, please subscribe. Appreciate you having you guys around. And I don't even want to give a score prediction, but fingers crossed we're in the next round. I will see you in a bit.